price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, all of that, because all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. And for everything you all do, thank you very much. Now, Jack Harlow is going through a downward spiral. Now, if you don't know who Jack Harlow is, I can't blame you. He's some white rapper who just came out like a few years ago or something like that, and he's already going through a downward spiral. And some people are questioning, is this the end of the white boy rapper era? We have more white rappers than we've ever had before, and you can't really name 12 or 10 or 8 or like maybe 5. Maybe if you know them, you can name like 5 off the top of your head. You can't really name them like that. And there's more than it's ever been. The white boy rapper era is dying. And Jack Harlow is one of the people who are putting the nail in the coffin with his latest Thanksgiving halftime show performance, which some are saying is literally the worst Thanksgiving Day halftime show performance in NFL history. So we're going to read this article. We're going to see the reaction. But there's a couple of other things that led to the downward spiral of Jack Harlow, and thus the proxy of all white rappers. Jack Harlow roasted over worst halftime show ever at NFL Thanksgiving game. Jack Harlow has been mercilessly mocked online over his halftime show at the NFL Thanksgiving game between the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. The Kentucky native, who has a fondness for the Motor City in its football team, was widely ridiculed for what many viewers thought was a lackluster performance. With the home team down 23-6 at the break, which that's a terrible score, especially being a home team. Jeez, I know that hurt. It continues to say, Harlow took center stage for a brief melody that included his Billboard Hot 100 chart topper. Quote, First Class and What's Poppin'. Those two made the top 100 charts, really? Okay, I guess anything can make the Billboard nowadays. One viewer even branded the performance the, quote, worst halftime show ever. Now, this is a tweet, and in the article, it shows a whole bunch of tweets of him getting roasted. This tweet says, total budget for Jack Harlow halftime show equals $49.99. And if you guys have actually seen it or saw a clip, you can probably see it on YouTube. It looked very low budget for a halftime show on Thanksgiving. It looked incredibly low budget. So he's just getting roasted. We're not going to show all of the tweets. We're going to continue with the articles, but that's just one of them. This view was echoed by another user who did not hold back in their dislike of the performance. Quote, that Jack Harlow halftime show may have been the worst halftime show in the history of Thanksgiving Day halftime shows. Another went in on the lack of production value in the set, joking, quote, total budget for Jack Harlow halftime show equals $49.99. And that was in the tweet that I showed you earlier. Others thought the same, with various people comparing the set to a shopping mall grotto, a low-budget talent show, and even a school play. Damn, that is sad. That is sad. It continues to say, following the performance, Jack Harlow wrote on his Instagram stories, quote, on some real shit, the main thing that pushed me to say yes to this Thanksgiving halftime show, aside from the opportunity itself, is how much family I have in Detroit and all the times I spent growing up visiting the city. Dude, stop talking about, man, I didn't really want to say yes, man, but I just got a lot of family in the city. Dude, when have you performed at a halftime show anywhere? Nobody's sitting up there checking for you to perform in a halftime show. You jumped at the opportunity. I'm very sure you did, because you don't be performing nowhere else. You don't be going on tour or anything like that. So ain't nobody really checking for you. This is the first time your agent called talking about an opportunity. He said, well, you know, aside from the opportunity, bro, it doesn't matter if it was Detroit, if it was Chicago, if it was California, LA, New York, you would have went anywhere the opportunity gave you, because you don't really get those. But it gets worse, y'all. It continues to say, quote, "I kid you not, my great-great-grandfather had a heart attack and passed away in the stands at a Lions Thanksgiving game in the 1960s. And I'm not even bullshitting. You know I had to bring it home for bro." Well, you know, you didn't. You didn't bring nothing home. And the team lost. So I'm sure your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, would be very disappointed in you. Shame on you, Jack. You're a disappointment. It goes on to say, across the 3 NFL Thanksgiving games, Harlow's performance was singled out for criticism, with Dolly Parton's halftime set at the Dallas Cowboy and Washington Commanders game widely praised. Stephen Aoki's concert in the middle of the San Francisco 49ers route of the Seattle Seahawks was also well received. Jack Harlow is literally the only one anybody hated that day. So he sucks. It continues to say, it wasn't just fans at home who were underwhelmed by Jack Harlow's performance. Super Bowl winner Chris Long also made it known that he was not a fan. He posted on X, formerly Twitter, quote, "This Jack Harlow set budget was like $36, before adding, "I told my kid if he wants to buy his music, he's got to get a job." Check out more reactions below. So then they go into tweets and everything like that, talking about the performance, the set. The whole thing was really amateuristic. It was really lackluster. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. No part of it did you think that they put any real effort into it. Jack didn't do a good job. The set didn't do a good job. Nobody did a good job when it came to that performance at all. Now, what people might feel bad, people might have a little bit of sympathy, cut Jack Harlow a little bit of slack, but let's not forget, Jack Harlow has done some very questionable things in the past, such as this. Do y'all remember this? When Jack Harlow was, I guess, at a derby or something like that, and he had to walk across some mud, and he was wearing all white, and he didn't want to get his shoes dirty or his clothes dirty, so he had 2 black men carry him across the mud, and he's kicking and swinging his legs like a kid. Just the imagery of this looks like a white master being carried by his slaves. It just does. Okay, some people are online caping like, come on, that's his security, man, leave him alone. But this is, I mean, come on. And this isn't the only thing. And if you thought, okay, well, maybe that's a reach, maybe that's a stretch, you know, Jack Harlow doesn't do anything to disrespect black culture, maybe people are just looking too deep into that, then I present this to you. The rapper was spotted at a football game wearing a bonnet and was criticized for cultural appropriation. Jack Harlow has been facing backlash after wearing a bonnet to a recent Louisville FC football game in his hometown in Louisville, Kentucky. The First Class, that's the name of his song, the First Class rapper was slammed for wearing a bonnet, a hair cap which holds deep historical and cultural significance with a stigma still attached to them for black people to particularly wear them around in public. I mean, that's true. Anytime black people wear them in public, which I'm not necessarily approving of, but when black people wear them in public, it's a sign of being classless, and it's a sign of being ratchet and ghetto and uneducated. But when he do it, oh my God, he's so urban and cool, man. So it's the cultural appropriation that people disliked with that. It continues to say, Jack was spotted posing with fans at the game with the bonnet on and wore a casual outfit with sunglasses. Here's some pictures. These are the pictures. It says, many black people wear bonnets to protect their hair and to maintain moisture and prevent frizz from occurring. According to Allure magazine, there has been a long-standing debate in the black community about wearing them in public. Social media slammed Jack Harlow for wearing bonnet. Social media slammed Jack Harlow for wearing the bonnet, highlighting the hypocrisy of him wearing them when many black women are criticized for rocking it out in public. Over on Twitter, people are divided over Jack's bonnet, as one said, "It's cool when he does it, it's a problem when I do it," end quote. Another quipped, quote, "If I see a bunch of white kids walking around with bonnets on, Jack Harlow will have to answer for his crimes." Jack Harlow is yet to respond to the cultural appropriation claims and the bonnet-wearing fiasco over on social media. Now you got that. And then Jack Harlow doesn't even know the culture. When he was questioned about it, when he was asked in an interview, this is what happened. It wound up being a whole big backlash on social media. So this person who wants to be a part of our culture doesn't even know it. Look at this. Just because you sing black music doesn't mean you know black culture. India Ari slams Jack Harlow for making, quote, black music, but failing to recognize the difference between the iconic voices of Brandy and Aaliyah. India Ari is not holding back from calling out cultural appropriation in the music industry. The Grammy award-winning artist unloaded her displeasure after rapper Jack Harlow admitted he had no idea Brandy and Ray J were siblings. Harlow's ignorance of the family ties was made worse when he failed to recognize the singer's vocals while testing his musical wit during an interview in Hot 97's Ebro Darden and Co. Harlow was stomped by more than once by the R&B songs during the game, including by Brandy's popular record, quote, Angels in Disguise. Unfamiliar with the vocals, Harlow asked if the singer was the late Aaliyah. Ebro, thinking he was giving Harlow the perfect clue, then referenced RJ's sex tape. Still stumped, Harlow had to be informed of the familial relation. Quote, Brandy and RJ are siblings? Nobody's ever told me that in my life, said the What's Poppin' rapper on May 11th. Nobody ever told me that. Y'all got a good clip off of that one. Ray J and Brandy are siblings? I had no idea, bruh. Annoyed by the short segment of the interview, Ari took to her Instagram story where she unleashed her thoughts. Quote, just because you make black music doesn't mean you know black culture, she began. If you don't know Brandy's voice when you hear it, who even are you? When an actual musician who makes black music deduces one of the industry's most important voices, at Brandy, to RJ's sister, who is famous mostly for his proximity to Kim Kardashian's. Okay, I'm going to add this real quick. I don't necessarily think that they were trying to deduce Brandy to just being RJ's sister. I think that they were trying to give him a hint about this is Brandy, because a lot of people, especially a lot of people who are into hip hop, they know that Brandy and RJ are siblings. So I think he was trying to give a hint without giving it away entirely. You know, a hint has to be, you know, somewhat leading, but not super obvious. So I think that was the first thing he thought of. But I don't necessarily think that that hint or that clue completely deduces Brandy to just being RJ's sister. She continued, and we here at Brandy influence everywhere, and she spelt it like that to stretch it out, everywhere, plenty of non-black singers. Ask them, even male singers, gospel singers, in all caps. She is really going off, all caps. And people know Ray J better. This shit stupid, 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 stupid. I don't know how true that is, that people know Ray J better. Ray J is famous for, of course, the sex tape with Kim Kardashian. But besides that, people don't really know of Ray J's work. Besides that, really at all. People know of Brandy. Brandy has a very deep legacy in black culture and black music and everything. I don't personally know anybody who doesn't know Brandy or Brandy's work. From the people I know, Brandy's work, people know of Brandy's work way more than they know of Ray J's work. The only thing they know of him is the sex tape for the average person. Now, if, you know, people who are more studious might know of his work a little bit more, but Brandy is much more well known in the industry than Ray J is. So I don't see why she's getting that upset about it. Quote, the truth, singer stance was not understood by everyone. Some felt Ari blew the situation out of proportion, writing on social media, quote, "It's not that serious," and quote, "Girl, it's not that deep." Others, however, sided with Ari. Quote, "I agree with her entirely. My thoughts when I saw the clip." And, quote, "We invited everyone to our cookout, so what India is saying will go over most people's heads." I agree with that. I agree with that. We do that way too often. We invite people to the cookout way too much. Jack Harlow should never have gotten in the door. And Jack Harlow sitting up there having an interview, and he's supposed to be a hip hop artist, and he's having an interview on hip hop, which is our culture, and doesn't know anything about it. We're sitting up there inviting people in. They don't even have to know anything. This man is sitting up there, "Are Ray J and Brandy are siblings? Who knew?" Or "Nobody ever told me that." But he's in hip hop though. So it is a big deal because it shows the fact that people get to be allowed to sit at our table, to be quote unquote at our cookout, and they don't have to even know the culture. So you know they're not going to appreciate it. Jack Harlow has already displayed that he doesn't mind cultural appropriation. He doesn't mind doing things that offend black people. And we still got black people sitting up there caping for him like, man, this is not that deep. It is that deep. Now it goes on to say, seeing how her words had sparked several blog posts and social media posts, Ari doubled down on her stance, as well as provided additional context to since expired Instagram story. Quote, "Let me clear this up now, cause I said what I said," began the "I Am Not My Hair" songstress on May 13th. "My comments were about how racist in the music industry is based on everything I see here. I know a lot of y'all don't get it, and it's interesting every time I speak on a white boy or a white situation, y'all print it," she continued, "which proves my point, and you don't even print everything I said before these comments. Don't at me about this ish anymore because I don't care. I said what I said and I'm done." The singer further reiterated her perspective when addressing the social chatter under the Shade Room post. In short, Ari says her full comment spoke directly to institutionalized cultural appropriation in the music industry. In this instance, Harlow fits the bill of her frustrations. Still, Ari's thoughts continue to cause a divide on social, where some individuals double down on cutting Harlow some slack and others not so much. Quote, "It's not like he didn't know they were siblings. It's the fact he didn't even know it was Brandy. Hashtag culture vulture." And another one, "Y'all acting like Jack isn't 24. He was just born when the song that's playing came out." Okay, we're not gonna do that. There's a lot of songs that came out well before I was born that I know of. Like, let's not play that. Well, I mean, the song, he wasn't around when the song was made. So what? What does that mean? Like, these people making this excuse for Jack. You would not see, if it was the other way around, and if, let's say this was black country, if this was a black country artist, and the black country artist didn't know nothing about country music, but wanted to be on the country billboard, you wouldn't see like, man, cut him some slack. He's only 24 years old now. You wouldn't see none of them country fans be doing that. It goes on to say, quote, "When you don't really know the culture, you just like what it looks and sounds like," which is, you know, most white folks. Continuing, "He's a white boy that didn't grow up on Moesha or R&B. Why would y'all expect him to know? It's not his culture." Well, if it's not his culture, why is he a part of it? Why is he rapping? Why is he even in this music genre? He shouldn't be a part of it. He shouldn't be allowed to touch it if it's not his culture, like you just said. We're not mad that he doesn't know, but the fact that you expect him to be welcome into the culture and don't know the culture, first off, you shouldn't be welcome at all, even if you did. But the fact that you don't know doubly verifies the fact that you shouldn't be in. And we're going to wrap it up here with this article, because then it goes on to talk about Ari and Joe Rogan, and this doesn't have anything to do with Joe Rogan. So we're going to move on. Now, I also wanted to add something, that this was something, his most recent song that the billboards allegedly are claiming are like a #1 hit on the Billboard charts. It's a song that when you listen to it and you hear the lyrics of it, it makes me personally, I'm just going to say me personally, it makes me feel a little uneased just knowing that this is a white person rapping these specific lyrics. I don't know who greenlit this, but it doesn't sit well with me. Now, this is his latest hit, and I thought that the lyrics were pretty interesting, especially considering all of his other history around black people and black culture. I don't like no whips and chains, you can't tie me down. But you can whip your lovin' on me, baby. Whip your lovin' on me, baby. Then he goes on to say, I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. And then it goes on to say, I don't like no whips and chains. Just, okay, it could be me, but for a white person to be rapping or singing or whatever about whips and chains and be a part of hip hop or rap or whatever, it is kind of uneasy for me. I got a problem digesting that. Now, some people will say this is about, you know, S&M and like some sexual fetish, I guess, where people be tying folks up and they use whips and chains and stuff like that. I mean, that's could be an argument. That probably might be what he's talking about. It's just the fact that he has a history, a notorious black history. That's one, and we discussed that before. And now he's rapping about whips and chains. I don't know who his PR person is, but I don't think having a white person rap about whips and chains, you can whip your lovin' on me. I don't think that just doesn't settle well with me. Whether it's an accident, because people want to claim everything Jack Harlow does that's offensive is an accident. He's so young, it doesn't matter. Stop being sensitive. Jack Harlow does not belong in hip-hop culture. Jack Harlow does not belong in the rap culture. Neither do any of the white boys, okay? None of them do. Number one, they disrespected. Every single time they come in, there's always this racial superior element that they bring in. Like Jack Harlow literally had two black men carrying him across the mud so his clothes and shoes don't get dirty. That is like a real accurate reflection of white boys in the hip hop world. That's really what that is. That needs to stop. Okay, we can't be having that anymore, because that would not at all be tolerated had it was like an Asian community, or us going to the Hispanics and doing the salsa and mariachi stuff, or us even with country. Even though we as foundational Black Americans are the ones who invented country music, we're the ones being gatekept from that. If we go to a country music festival and everything like that, they wouldn't put a black person on the top of the country music festival or a country music award or anything like that. Even though really with every single genre in American music, we're the ones who originated all of that. So we need to start gatekeeping all of that, starting with hip hop, because that's been the only thing that they haven't been able to really colonize, like rock and roll or like country music. They've been able to colonize that stuff, and they've been able to say, well, you know, Elvis is the king of rock and roll, this person is the king of country or the queen of country, when we're the ones who created those genres. No other group of people would ever allow such disrespect. So we need to start that with hip hop, and that needs to set the precedent of how we start taking back and reclaiming all ALL of our music genres, even the ones we don't really like. Just take it back, just for the principle and just for the culture. Take it back. If you don't listen to rock, it don't matter. That's still ours. If we like country, now we do. That's still ours. All of this stuff belongs to us and for the culture. We need to take it back and then gatekeep it the same way we've been gatekeeped out of the culture. Jack Harlow doesn't know the culture. He disrespects the culture, and he sucks. He sucks. He embarrassed his great-great-grandfather, okay, and his hometown. He embarrassed him, okay? So why do we even want him? This man doesn't go on tour or anything. The first time we see him on a stage, this man is flopping. The worst NFL halftime show when it comes to Thanksgiving. That's terrible. He's terrible. Why would we want him? We should not be so inviting, okay? The cookout is done. All right. He doesn't know it. If he doesn't know it, that's fine. He needs to go somewhere else and start listening to country music while he still can before we come and reclaim that. Family, I want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. What do you think about Jack Harlow as a rapper, rhymer, whatever he thinks he is. What do you think about that? What do you think about white boys in the culture at all, period, in the hip hop culture, in the rap culture? What do you think about that? Let me know that in the comments section below. Also, you should be following me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on Twitter. Please do not forget, we are so very close to that 10K mark. We are so very close. All we need is a little bit more. Please hit that subscribe button, that like button, that share button, leave a comment, all of that stuff. Recommend this to your mama, your sister, your brother, your grandma, all of this, because all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. We can accomplish so much when we get this channel to bigger heights like we've been doing so far. So as a team, as a family, we've been doing this, and I greatly appreciate every single last one of you all. Now, with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and you all have a good one.